This is the House of Hockey podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. Hockey is more than a game, it's a lifestyle. It's you, the diehard supportive fans, your favorite players who are on the team you cheer for and the organization who supports them.
The companies that make your gear, bags, and beer league sweaters. The hockey moms and hockey dads and everything else that makes this House of Hockey your home. Come on in. I'm Breezy.
And I'm Rae Rae.
And this is our house.
Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast, episode 102. I'm one of your hosts, Rae Rae, and my co-host, Breezy, is in Nashville still because she was at the Stadium Series watching one of her teams, the Nashville Predators, as they played against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay won that game, but it was an incredible game all around. I watched it. Obviously, Breezy watched it. And coming up in a couple minutes or so, you're going to hear from Breezy. She is going to go over all of the highlights, her experience. She also said she was really cold and it was only 40 degrees. So she might be reconsidering going to outdoor games in temperatures that are colder than that. But you'll hear from her in a second. I want to talk about the Stadium Series game in a second, but I also want to tell you about our guest who is on this week. We spoke to Frank Longo. He is the assistant coach and goalie scout for the varsity women's hockey program at Nipissing University that's in Canada. And he is the head goalie scout for his own independent scouting agency as well, where he does cover some NHL draft prospects. We had such an incredible conversation with him to really hear what scouting is like. So for anybody who is playing hockey or parents who have kids that play hockey, or even if you're just a fan of NHL players and want to know how that scouting process goes, it's pretty interesting to hear from his perspective of what they look for, but he's also a coach too. So he really covers the breadth of what it takes to be an all-around really star athlete, star hockey player. And you're going to love the one piece of advice he gave to anybody who wants to improve their game. It was really surprising, but we've heard it before from another guest on how to really be a well-rounded hockey player. You'll really like his answer. I don't want to give it away, but you'll have to listen for that. He also addresses some of the common misconceptions that players might think are more important than other aspects of the game, like when you're training. And we also talked about the mental aspect of the game with him. How does he coach players? And what does that all involve when you are training to be this top level athlete? He also has a goal of one day winning the Stanley Cup by helping an NHL organization as their goaltending scout. So we'll hear about that, and we'll hear if his favorite NHL team has anything to do with it. But you're really going to enjoy this conversation with Frank. It's a different look at an aspect of the game of hockey that we all love, hearing from a coach and a scout, and just hearing how that impact and that perspective affects players on the ice. So stay tuned for that. And without further ado, let's hear from somebody who was actually at the game, who sent me lots of pictures, posted pictures on social for us, and hear from Breezy herself.
What's up, guys? Breezy here, reporting from Nashville. Went to the Stadium Series this past Saturday. It was so fun. The Nashville Predators and the Tampa Bay Lightning put on an incredible show. All the fans were so nice, so friendly. I didn't even see any fights break out, which is so cool, especially since there's over 68,000 people there. I don't even know what to say. That was an incredible experience. It was so cold. I may take back wanting to go to a winter classic because it was only like 33 degrees or something. I don't know. It was super cold, but all the acts there were so fun. Miranda Lambert, Dierks Bentley, Dustin Lynch, It was just an incredible experience. If you ever get the chance to go to a stadium series, I highly recommend. I could only imagine that the Heritage Classic and the Winter Classic would just be equivalent to, if not more amazing. Nashville obviously holds a special place to my heart. I was so excited to be a part of the first one here, and I cannot wait to see, what next year's will hold. It's going to be a great time. Super glad I went, and I hope you guys got to watch it on TV. Couldn't have asked for a better time other than having the Preds win, but Tampa Bay put on a hell of a show, and go Preds.
Clearly, Breezy had a good time. Hopefully, she is warming up and still enjoying her time in Nashville. I'm so glad she was able to send us a little update here, and I'm sure we'll talk more in depth when she is back next week. I'm going to give my 2 cents on what I thought about the Stadium Series. And if you can't tell, if you're watching it on video by the shirt I'm wearing, it is my Miranda Lambert shirt. She was my highlight of the game. I'm sorry. Actually, all the musicians were the highlight of the game for me because I love country music. I know Breezy does too. And I also love hockey, obviously. But getting to see my girl Miranda perform, she's just so incredible. She's the only female country singer on Broadway in Nashville to have her very own bar and restaurant. A lot of the male country singers and groups have their own bars. She's the only female to have one there, which is super badass. I love her. I love all her music. I thought she looked amazing. I loved her fringe jacket and the sparkles, and she sounded great. And I loved both of the songs she chose. Dirk Bentley also performed, and Jesse James Decker did the national anthem. Man, does that girl have a set of pipes. And the chills, just like incredible. I can't imagine being Steven Stamkos, who was standing like basically right next to her because she was singing, like all the players had lined up in a single file line, and she walked down the middle of it and ended up stopping like towards the front. And I can't imagine listening to her sing like that powerfully, standing right next to her. I'm sure Stammer was getting goosebumps from that, but I'd love to ask him about that. I bet nobody did. Anyway, the game itself was really fun. I thought it was super cool. What a highlight to have Pekka Rinne there, who threw a catfish on the ice, which I'm sure was pretty special for him, having seen many catfish thrown on the ice while he was playing in goal, and to have the chance for him to actually do that, because some of the Tennessee Titans football players were there since the game was played at Nissan Stadium where the football team plays. They brought out catfish for Pekka to throw on the ice, which I just thought was super cool. The whole thing was just a great spectacle, great for the sport. Good hockey. Uniforms questionable. I did love the buckets though. The Predators had just like 2 stars on them on one side, which I thought was kind of cool. And then the Lightning had a lightning bolt on theirs. That I thought was a nice, interesting little touch. But the jerseys, we talked about this last week, Breezy and I, on the episode, so you can go back and hear our thoughts on that. Or maybe it was the week before. I don't remember. Let's send it on over to our guest for the week, Frank Longo. This week's episode of the House of Hockey podcast is brought to you by
Hoops fans, the latest offer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is too good to pass up. I'm talking between the legs 360 windmill good. New customers can bet just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still take your shot at a big payday. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy basketball contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. That's THPN for the Hockey Podcast Network. Bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over, minimum age and location Location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for a full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Minimum $5 deposit. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the TN Red Line 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In New York, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Frank, welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope all's well.
Good. Tell everybody who you are and what you do in the hockey world.
Yeah, so I'm the assistant coach and scout for Nipissing University for the women's varsity hockey program, as well as a goaltending scout for Recruit Scouting, which is an independent scouting agency. So, and recently actually I ventured off and started my own business called Creature Goaltending, which is for elite goaltending development. So that's kind of the next stage of what I'm doing, I guess you can say.
So I'm guessing you were a goalie at some point, or how did you get into that side of this?
Yeah, no, definitely. That was the position I play. I was a goaltender in the Whippy organization, Whippy Minor Hockey AAA, and then also with the Whippy Fury, which is in the Ontario Junior Hockey League, and then retired at the age of 19. But I actually started coaching when I was 14. So I've been coaching for over 11 years now. So it's been a long time. Kind of set myself up knowing that if it didn't work out as a goaltender, that I would still have a chance to make the National Hockey League in a different route. So different path, the same goal. And here we are now and still pursuing it. So.
Awesome. So how did you get into hockey? I'm assuming you're kind of just born and raised into it, but what was the motivation there?
Yeah, actually, it's ironically, it wasn't that. So I have a kind of a unique story. I didn't start playing organized hockey until the age of 9 years old. So I couldn't even skate at the age of 9, and kind of screwed up the whole Whippy Minor Hockey organization. They actually now have a rule that you can't jump up more than 2 levels in 1 year, because I kind of screwed the whole system up by going house to play as a goalie. Obviously, you can tell a lot. You can just imagine what that would do to a lot of hockey parents who have been putting their kid in, single A, double A, trying to wait for the opportunity, and all of a sudden this house league goalie kind of just jumps the entire rankings, right? So that kind of sparked a lot. But yeah, I started at the age of 9, couldn't even skate. I didn't come from a family with hockey. I actually grew up in a single parent home with my twin sister and my grandmother. Didn't really have that father figure, that male figure. So hockey wasn't really prominent, but I grew up with a lot of friends on my street that played road hockey. So that's kind of where the love kind of grew from the age of 6 years old to 9. Just never really had the I was always scared to ask my mom to play hockey with how expensive it was, but then eventually, she realized how much of a passion it was for me. So she, obviously kudos to moms out there and hockey moms especially, and she was the one that kind of made my dream a reality, and I just kind of put the work in, and then that's how everything happened. So.
Dang, that's awesome. So,
yeah, well different.
So you are obviously doing scouting now, mostly for women. Did growing up with basically all women make you want to pursue the women's sport more than maybe the men's?
Yeah, no, actually, I started in the men's side, so I've been in the men's game for a long time. I still am with the goalies I coach, but my first actual taste working with, female athletes, elite female athletes, was last season when I was at Stansted College, which is where I worked last year, located in Quebec. So I was with the varsity women's program there, and with the men's or the boys varsity program, I should say. And yeah, it was kind of like my first taste, and it was, a great experience. I feel like this, obviously growing up with, around females my entire life, I can kind of build that relationship even easier from a male standpoint. So, it was great. And then I got the opportunity to come back home here to North Bay because this is where I went to university since 2016. So I got the opportunity to come back, and here we are.
So is there really any difference then between coaching women goalies versus men's goalies or just players in general?
Yeah,
in the hockey space?
yeah, no, for sure. That's it's always a fun like topic to discuss because like to be honest with you, like there's not really a difference. Like, the human beings, like it doesn't matter, what your gender is. At the end of the day, they're there to get better and to build a bunch of build a, or develop a bunch of stuff in regards off ice or on ice because it's a vehicle for life, right? So these players, doesn't matter what your gender is, they're there to, build towards a good team culture and winning a championship too. So, I don't really find much of a difference, to be honest with you. I just find that females are maybe a little more communicative in all times of a game. So if it's, high pressure, if it's, it's just a fun practice, whatever it may be, there's a little more communicative, but other than that, it's basically the same thing.
That's what I thought. And it's just nice to hear a little reassurance and, trying to support the women's sport in like the professional space is something that I'm passionate about and Breezy is too. So we're always interested to give more insight to the listeners so that they, aren't just hearing it from us, two women who don't actually play hockey, but love it. So
yeah, no, they're awesome. Amazing athletes. Like I said, I can't say, I can't even describe the type of dedication some of these female athletes have, especially a stance that a lot of them end up going to Division One, NCAA, and even the athletes here in U Sports, like their dedication to the sport and their dedication to bettering themselves is inspiring as a coach from my perspective, and to other individuals in the game of hockey.
So when it comes to scouting, let's just go with like on the female side right now, like what like specific things are you looking for in the players, both on the ice and off the ice? Like what are some of the parameters and qualities that you're looking for? So for athletes who are coming up or, just to give us an insight of what the game looks like now.
Yeah, to be honest with you, my biggest thing is like obviously if you're scouting players, they're good hockey players. There's a reason why they play in that league that you're looking at. And there's obviously, there's going to be time for them to develop. Like, are they going to be, a starter right away at the U Sports level from junior? Depends how good they are, but not usually, right? So for me, when I scout, you're looking for good people. So I love to look at, I love to reach out to coaches. I love to, using my network and finding out more about, the individual off the ice, how are they with their teammates? How are they, working within the team culture, how are they in the classroom? All those type of things are very important because at the end of the day, you're bringing in people to not only your program, but to your university as well. So you're a student athlete. So you want to bring good people to the community, who want to actually go out there, make a difference, and give back to the community as well. And then at the same time, be dedicated to, hopefully winning a championship. So those are kind of big things off the ice. And obviously on the ice, you can talk about all the technical stuff that, you look at, as a goalie perspective or if you're looking at a player, and that's all going to be based on your specific needs for the next season and, who's graduating and, maybe what's not going right that season. So there's a lot of variables in regards to that, but off the ice, definitely someone who can build a strong team culture and give back to the community that you're a part of.
Well, because you have that background of scouting, are you able to kind of put that into your coaching side? And because you have that, do your players kind of maybe respect you a little bit more and maybe listen to you more, knowing that you are actively scouting as well and that you know what you're talking about, you know what you'd be looking for, you know what other scouts are looking for?
Yeah, I think the girls are pretty good, with all the whole coaching staff, regardless if you're the one in charge of scouting or not. We kind of run a tight ship. We don't really have a big coaching staff. At this moment, we only have two like myself and then one other assistant, and then a mental performance coach who's even on the ice. And the girls are amazing with being responsive and listening and being coachable. And I think that's the one reason why we're such a successful program is because everyone's bought in, and the people and the players that we do bring in, they buy in right away before they even step on their first ice session with the program. So being responsive like that, being coachable, I think is a testament to the program, but also to our head coach Darren Turcos. So he's done a fantastic job building the program, but also developing the players that he scouted years ago and are now players who log in a lot of minutes for this program now, because this is my second season scouting for the program, but my first season actually as a coach, because last year, like I said, I was at Stansted College. So a lot of it is all of it is Darren Turcott. So I think that's a big thing too. But in regards to going back to the coaching side and the whole scouting, going through the process as well, because I was a varsity athlete myself, I went through the scouting process. Like, so going through it as an athlete, you can bring those experiences and tools that you have in your toolbox. So then when you're scouting, you can remember the process and what you enjoyed about it and what you did it, and vice versa, and even in the coaching world too. So
what's the best thing to do training wise then for like an aspiring player who's trying to either play in college, to play in junior, to play in a professional league, anywhere? What advice do you have from your perspective?
Yeah, I'll probably go off the grid here and say playing different sports, because it makes you more versatile, makes you a better athlete. And I think having that break in the off season makes you feel more refreshed when you do come back, because it's a grind. It's 8 months. It's entire university. I'm talking from a university perspective. If you're talking about players in minor hockey, it's the same thing. You're still in high school. You're still in school during the day, and then you have to do the grind at night, right? So, and if you want to go the extra mile, it's like that extra time it takes into to being that better player. So, definitely playing different sports, I think, is massive, because you see a lot of players now, their parents are putting them in summer showcases and summer teams, and it's to put your body and use the same muscles and do the same thing repetitively 12 months of the year, and doing that year after year. It takes a toll on your body, and you want to strengthen other muscles. It makes you a better athlete. It makes you see it from a different perspective. It makes you more coachable. Like, there's just so many benefits. I can go down the list and talk about a whole podcast episode about that. But going off the grid, I think definitely playing different sports for sure.
What sports do you think would be most beneficial? Because, I mean, every sport uses kind of the same things, but obviously different things too. I mean, baseball, hand-eye coordination, that could be good for goalies, right? Yeah. Is there anything off the top of your head that you think would be like an alternative other than hockey that would be a good sport?
Yeah, I think like you said, you nailed it in the head. Every sport kind of has something that's transferable, but in regards to hockey, like, I'm kind of being a little biased here. I think lacrosse would be one, just because the hand-eye coordination, the contact. I know it's not contact in female hockey, but there is at the same time. So just being able to have that aspect, there's cardio involved, the agility. So I think lacrosse is kind of like an overall, like almost like hockey without skates. But then you have basketball. I think would be a great sport too. Just like the whole team dynamic, and then how like how fast you have to move. Like, it's the agility and the lateral quickness you have to have as a basketball player, I think is something that's transferable. But yeah, basically any sport, to be honest with you. It's like you said, baseball too for hand-eye coordination, and there's short stints of sprinting. So a lot of different aspects you can bring into a lot of different sports.
What would you say on the mental side of the game? What, as a coach, do you do to help players like mentally prepare, visualizations, like meditations, any of those kinds of things, and or like just supporting them from that emotional side, right? Like, because the sport and playing sports still has a lot of emotion involved, and a range of emotions you can go through in a game. So how do you coach that mindset?
Yeah, I think that's where you kind of pull those experiences from your own playing career and just from your coaching career. Like, going through so many different experiences and scenarios, you can pull from that. But at the same time, like, I'm really big into reading. So, I like to suggest, personal development books. Like, I have a bunch up here, like, Winning by Tim Grover is a great one, or The Obstacles Away by Ryan Holiday. Like, there's just a bunch of books. So I recommend that to my goalies, just especially in the off season, not so much in season, because there's always so much going on, plus already being a student. But in the off season, when things are kind of on the down low, picking up a book and just kind of developing that mental psyche and building that confidence. And I think just by reading books, the more information you have, the more you learn about yourself and how you respond. So that's one. But to be honest with you, it's this is where the coaching side comes out, and it's really important, is building that effective communicative relationship with your athletes. So when they're having a bad day, or there's something that's going on outside the rink, they can open up and talk to you about that and know that it's not going to, be judged, and there's a kind of like a safe space. So like for me, like building that effective communication, and building that everlasting relationship with your athletes that go beyond just hockey. That's where you're really going to get a lot out of your athlete, especially during those trials and tribulations.
Players, go to their coach for more than one thing, and I think that that's a common, I guess, misconception that a lot of people think is like a coach is just a coach, not like a friend. And there is a fine line between being a coach and a friend. But I mean, coaches are huge, and they've developed, people from the time they were 10 years old all the way up until, 18 years old sometimes. So it's good to hear that.
Yeah, I'm like you nailed in the head too in that regard. Like I'm not going to go, sit in the bar and shotgun beers with my players. But at the same time, like if they need to call me at 11 o'clock at night because something happened in a relationship, or they need to open up in any regard, or they're upset about their play and they're in a rut, I want to be that guy that and that coach that you can come to, and I can help kind of navigate through that and get through that rut, and get back to where we need to be. So it's kind of being like, a term I heard a long time, it was kind of being like a gatekeeper, if you will, or a caddy, like in golf. And you're kind of just, you're showing the guidance, but you're not the one that makes the decisions for them. It's just kind of guiding them in the right direction based on, the experiences that you went through as an athlete, or as a person as well.
Yeah, I think that method of coaching that you're describing that you do, we've heard from a few other coaches who are in like youth development, and that's what they really try to do. And they just try to make sure that they're having fun and like enjoying and keeping what's important there. But I feel like it hasn't made its way all the way up to like the NHL, or am I wrong? Like, is that, I still think we're not seeing that fully trusting dynamic. Maybe not with the head coach. Maybe in the NHL, they're seeing that amongst some of like the specialty coaches and the assistants. And there's like so many other people involved in the organization. But do you think that that method would really work in the NHL, or would it not work?
Oh, 100% would work. And I think you're 100% right too, in regards to the like supportive autonomy coaching style. That's kind of the new method of coaching. Like you want to build relationships with your athletes instead of being like an authority figure. Like you don't want to have to lay the hammer every single day, because that's how you create fear. And as much as you can watch The Last Dance and say Michael Jordan got the most of his athletes being a tyrant, like there's a reason why he's not an NBA coach. You know what I mean? Like sure, he got the results, but a lot of his teammates feared him, and he even said he hated the way he did it, but he had to do what he had to do to win. And that's an old school approach, right? Like that thing about when The Last Dance actually took place, right? So no, it's that I think there's a lot of coaches who have that style, and that's the reason why they made the NHL now. But there's still definitely some that are being weeded out, and I think that's just the whole aspect of the NHL. They call it kind of like an old man's club, and it is, and I think it's definitely changing, and I think that's a positive side of things. You're seeing a lot more females being hired in front offices and coaching opportunities. But like yeah, for example, like look at Vancouver, like they were absolutely horrendous at the beginning of the year, and they had all of these the old man club, as you can say, in the front office, and things weren't working, and they basically did a whole reorg. And look how the organization, like they've been playing pretty good hockey recently since they've kind of reorged their entire front office with hiring 3 females. And it has nothing to do with them being females or males, or just giving opportunity to individuals that deserve it. Like it's individuals that might not have that pro background, who didn't play 15 years in NHL, but they're good enough to do the job, and they've proved it, and they're given them the opportunity to prove it. And I think that's why you're going to see an organization like Vancouver win a Stanley Cup a lot sooner than you think, because of what they're building at the front office. And that's just going to trickle down all the way to to the players on the ice, who are going to produce the results. So
Yeah, I think it's got to be it's a fine balance, like you're saying, because we saw it with Jeremy Colleton, like a really young coach with the Blackhawks, but yet he was really wanting their involvement and their opinions and their input and things like that, but like the results on the ice were not there. So I think, I mean, yes, maybe that's like a one-off, but I think there's got to still be some sort of like respect and authority and trust in the coach as well. Not like saying you're this way at all, but I think it was, we're starting to see some of that trickle into the NHL, but it's not been quite figured out exactly. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Well, look at Montreal too, right? With Ducharme there, right? Like he definitely lost the respect of his athletes. And I
Right.
saw I saw a tweet, and it kind of made me giggle a little bit, because it's just like, it is crazy to think. It was like, if you saw these two different news articles, you wouldn't believe it. And one of them was in June. It was like the Habs are off to the Stanley Cup final, and then it's January, and it says, "Is this the worst Habs team of all time?" And it's like, like it's almost like what the hell just happened in a matter of months. And it's crazy, but like, that's how important your coaching staff is. And I feel like, they hired him like late last year, and like then they went to the finals and all this stuff, and he was fired within a year. But like, yeah, he went to a Stanley Cup final. Like, it's just, I know there's so many different circumstances, like, it's out of his control. I think he was kind of, I'm not saying he's a bad coach by any means, I'm just saying he lost the respect of his players, and then look what happened, right? So they definitely were responsive, and I think getting Martin St. Louis in there, I think, will bring a different, fresh voice to the organization. So
Definitely.
Yeah, that's going to be wild to see how that all plays out, because I know some of the players have been tweeting, and there's been some articles that have come out saying how they were inspired by him to play, and now that's the coach. But
yeah,
I want to trickle back to where you said training and coaching male versus female goalies, and how the females have better communication, as you would say. Now, do you think implementing having female coaches or front office people, much like the Vancouver Canucks, with their form of communication? I think it's a well-known thing that women, communicate better than men in general anyway, and that's not a stat towards anybody, but
no, yeah, no.
Having that communication maybe trickle further down the line all the way to the players and everything. Do you think that will be more beneficial, or do you think that could cause more of a ripple in maybe a coach thinking that maybe this female GM or something is stepping on his toes because there's too much communication going on, and it could be taken as, oh, she's telling me how to do my job, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, no, I think that's why the interview process is so important. I think they had more than one female that they were interviewing, right? So, and I don't even think it was just like, obviously it wasn't just females, it was also males too. So it was just the best suited person for the job. So in regards to, her being over communicative, or, stepping boundaries, I think they would have got a sense of that in the interview process, or maybe, from reference checks in the past. So I think in regards to, the management that they did hire, I think they're the right people for the job based on what their specific needs are. And it's obviously been working so far with the results. I know, like, they just got hired, so it's not like they've made such an impact already that, like, it's all on them by any means. But I think it's just, again, for the players, they know there's moves being done. They know that they're going into the right direction, and they're serious about actually winning. It's not just about the owners and keeping face, kind of like what Chicago's doing, just trying to keep face with all this garbage going on. But it's more about hiring the right people, and trying to chase something that all 32 teams are trying to chase, which is the Stanley Cup. So.
Right. And speaking of Stanley Cups, that's a goal of yours, right? To work with the team to get them there.
Yeah. So that's the end result. Like I said, it's always been since before I even played organized hockey. That was kind of what drove me and inspired me in this game, was seeing those players and the passion, and the emotion, and the bumps and grind of four best of 7 series plus an 82 game season. Like, just to see the raw emotion, kind of it inspired me. It still does. It gives me chills every time I think about it, even as a 25-year-old. So it's something that it's a lifelong goal for me, and obviously I want to do it as a player, and it didn't happen that way. But like I said, it's a different route, but it's the same goal. So, but yeah, no, the goal is to win the Stanley Cup as a goaltending scout with an organization. So that's what I'm working towards.
What about the team? Does it matter what team?
No, that whatever team gives me my first opportunity, that's that'd be ideal. But to be honest with you, I grew up a Vancouver fan. I think Vancouver would be a pretty cool spot. That like especially seeing them lose in 2011 because I remember I was just so sad for like a week straight after that. I was young. I just remember like devastated because I was a big Luongo guy and they were one game away and they lost at home. It would have been like the perfect storybook. And then they didn't win, obviously, right? So, to be a part of maybe the first championship that comes back to Canada, let alone, with Vancouver, would be pretty surreal. So
You're manifesting it right now. You're putting it out there.
I hope so. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool, but we'll see. You never know. That's the best part about life, I think, is you never know what's around the corner, and that's kind of what makes the game of hockey too so special. You never know what phone call can come through. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you never know what friends you're going to make in this community as well, which is something I love. But talk about goalies currently in the NHL or on the PWHPA side or the NWHL, which is renamed something else that I haven't committed to memory, but that's the women's side. What goalie wise, who is the most impressive or best in your opinion, or a style of goalie play and or personality and or mental side of the game do you really like?
Yeah,
and
yeah, for sure.
I don't expect you're going to say Jordan Bennington because he's taken a sharp left turn lately. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway.
It's funny because I actually am somewhat of a Bennington fan, which is funny. But in regards to top three, I think all time, and I know I'm kind of going off the grid too, and I know a lot of people will disagree, but this is my opinion. I think the best goalie of all time is Marc-Andre Fleury. I think just the way he's won 3 Stanley Cups. I know he wasn't a starter for 2 of them, but like to be able to win a Stanley Cup as a starter, he's been in the finals 5 times too. So like he's been a starter and been in the finals 3 times, and won with an expansion team in their first year. Right, like just like the things that he's done in his career, being an Olympic gold medal. I know he was a medalist. Sorry. I know he was a 3rd goalie, but still, like you could say he's an Olympic gold medalist. And if you looked at 2 goalies in front of him at that time, it was Luongo and Brodeur. Like it's pretty hard to play in front of those guys at the Olympics. So there's that, and then just his personality off the ice. What he's done in each organization, I think, is like the ideal professional athlete. And you hear so often on social media that he's probably the most liked teammate in all professional sports, let alone in fan bases, right? So like just the epitome of Marc-Andre Fleury and what he's done and how he always has a smile on his face and how hard he works and the success has come even through all the adversity. I think in my opinion, I think he's the best all time, and he's up there. He's top 3 in every category. So I'm behind again Brodeur and Patrick Roy. So yeah, definitely Fleury, and then obviously his playing style too. I can go on about that, but in regards to 2 goalies now, I like Igor Shesterkin on New York Rangers. I really like. I know he's a smaller goalie, but he's just been lights out. Very, very talented goaltender. And then obviously Andre Vasilevsky, I think, is a freak. I think that guy's a creature on his own. So to win back-to-back like that. And I think there was some crazy stat that like every deciding game in the playoffs, you got a shutout in the last 2 years or something crazy like that. Like if you go back, every series clinching game was a shutout. Something ridiculous like that. I could like you might have to do a stat check on that, but something similar to that. And again, he won the Conn Smythe. He's only 26. He's a year older than me, and he's Conn Smythe winner, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Like the guy's already done it all, and like so I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer one day too. So yeah, those are the 3 guys I would say right now in the NHL that are the epitome of goaltending.
Yeah, Fleury just has so much fun out there. Like when they mic him up. And the Blackhawks just posted something about him, just how much fun he has out there. Like he's just, and I think that's such an important quality in any athlete is like to remember to have fun and find the fun in it. And he does it well. He's such a great example of that. Something I wanted to ask you about was when you were talking about scouting and recruiting goalies and things like that. We all know that goalies tend to have some quirks or some superstitions or traditions or whatever it is that's just become sort of like a common thread, if you will. So do you guys like ask them like what's your weird thing you do as a goalie, or do you just like try to figure it out in like watching tape, or like what do you do?
Yeah, I don't ask, but just because all the goalies I've worked with over the last 11 years and then also being a goalie, I kind of have an idea of, the weirdness that you can pinpoint it like just by watching them live, especially like in between whistles or if the puck's in the offensive zone, if I'm really watching just the one goaltender in that game, I'm not watching both. I'll watch them when the puck's at the other end. I just want to see, are they paying attention? Are they like kind of like looking in the blue paint? Are they like looking in the stands? Like I want to see, their focus level. Like there's a lot of minute little aspects of, the whole overall scouting package. So yeah, like I look at all those little things. You can kind of see like the little weirdness that comes out. So and also just talking to them over time, just getting to learn about them and be on the ice with them. So, but it's definitely something you take into account, but it's more for the fun of it, not to kind of persuade your decision.
Okay,
Have you ever
fair
been
enough.
watching somebody and just being like, "What are you doing? That must be your weird thing that you do."
100%. Yeah, like there's like I'm trying to think what like one would be like for me, like my weirdest thing was anytime I don't even think I've ever said this out loud before, but like my weird thing is every time I thought about getting scored on, I had to tap my stick twice on the ice to reset my brain. Yeah. So again, so you would look at me sometimes and I would just like lightly like tap my stick twice on the blue paint, and then you'd be like, why the fuck do you just like tap your
Right.
stick? And it's because like that's for me to reset my brain and be like, hey, like I'm not gonna get scored on now if I tap my stick twice. And I think it's because like a long time ago, like I must have done that, and then like they hit a goal post like an empty net or something, and I must have been like, wow, like that's my superstition now. And yeah, I still do it now in men's league. So I mean, like it's just weird. So that's one of my weird things.
It's the power of the brain. I mean,
No, it is.
it's just the power of our minds and what we tell ourselves and what we believe. And if it works, it works. And like if you stop believing, or, but like, do you risk trying it and not
I know.
doing it and seeing what happens? Probably not. Let's just
No,
keep it
no,
going.
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to switch up any superstitions for sure.
Not on a
Man,
game
so
that
what?
matters.
Yeah.
No.
Is there something that sticks out in your mind, and you don't have to say names or anything, where you're like, that is something I've never seen before. Like that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, or funniest thing you've ever seen, strangest.
Superstition? Oh, I've definitely had some really weird teammates that weren't goalies. We like more like definitely more weird than me. Like I can think of one, and he won't care that I say his name. He's actually he's on his way to being a pro golfer in the PGA now. But his name's Zach Biminitz, and he used to have to get the Oreo cookies and cream chocolate bar, like that little like thin one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I remember one time we were in this arena that had no concession stand or anywhere you can get chocolate, and the closest place was like 20 minutes, and he made his dad drive 20 minutes like in a snowstorm to get him one singular chocolate bar, and I think he missed the first couple of minutes of the game. Yeah, he smashed his chocolate bar just so he can play. So his dad got him like a dollar chocolate bar just so he can smash it and then jump on the ice. And I think he ended up scoring like 2 goals or whatever. But like that's again, this is like mindset. Like he wouldn't go on the ice without a damn cookies and cream bar in his stomach. So, and that's just like one example. Like I there's definitely way better ones I can think of, even from lacrosse to some teammates. But that's one that sticks out for sure.
Yeah.
That's an odd one.
That's
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys like understand it because you all have your own things. Some people do, some people don't. And it's like, it's just a stupid like cookie bar, but like to him, it's so much more.
Oh,
Now I
it's like
wonder if
you'll be thinking about it on the breakaway. I didn't have my damn cookie. I didn't have my cookie and cream bar, and then like you know what I mean. So at the time, I was a little pissed. Like he was one of our best players, and the guy's just like refusing to go on the bench. He's like, what are you doing? And then he goes out there and scores 2 goals. I don't care about the first 3 minutes. So
Right. You're
But
like,
yeah,
all right, whatever. I'm over that whole cookies and cream thing.
yeah.
I wonder if your buddy smashes a cookies and cream before he hits the course now.
I definitely have to send this to him and see what he said. I'm curious too. Like I still keep in touch with him here and there, not obviously too often. This is back when I was probably like 14, 15. This is a long time ago, but yeah, I wonder if he still does. Maybe change it up. Maybe it's Mars bars now. Who knows?
So we ask everybody these 3 questions, men or women. They're meant to be fun. So who is your favorite hockey hunk?
Hockey hunk. Wait, can I pick a female? Like, or are you saying like?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
the second question is favorite hockey lady. So.
Oh. Okay, I don't know about a hunk. That's a. I guess I'll just say Marc-Andre Fleury. I guess just because, like I say, I admire him off the ice, so I'll say him. But a hockey lady. Oh, that's a tough one too. I guess Nurse on Canada, maybe. We'll take her. Sure, we'll say her, and then
there's no wrong answer here.
I know, but I'm trying to think like who I have. I'm trying to think myself, but yeah, Nurse, and then what's the third question?
Do you have a Sidney Crosby story?
A Sidney Crosby story, like in regards to like shooting pucks into like the dryer. You mean?
No, no, but yeah, sure, that could be your story. Like some people have like met him or had stories of like meeting, like playing with him, playing against him, like choosing him as their video game captain. Like it could be anything.
Stories you've heard of him that maybe
Sidney Crosby, yeah.
Did you shoot pucks into the dryer?
No, I didn't actually, but I thought it was like, like a story that like, that he did when he was a kid type of thing. But in regards to Sidney Crosby, yeah, my roommate's actually a very big Pittsburgh Penguins fan, like diehard. He's actually watching the game right now, which is kind of funny how you brought that up. So, whenever Sidney Crosby comes up on Tim Hortons picks, the Tim Hortons picks. Are you guys in the States or in Canada?
States.
Okay, so there's the Tim Hortons is an app, and you can pick like 3 random players every day, and you can get points towards free coffee. It's basically like free gambling. So, and whenever Sidney Crosby's one of the players you can pick, like it's a guarantee. Like I already know he picked him type of thing. So, but he actually for Christmas, he surprised me with a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey, and he wants me to put Crosby in the back. I might put Fleury though, but that's kind of a little bit of a Pittsburgh Penguin story, I guess, that involves Sidney Crosby. So.
Yeah, that's great.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody where they can follow you on social media and work with you if they want to work with you.
So Longo 3434 on Twitter, and then Longo 3434 and _ on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look me up, Frank Longo, and you'll be able to find me on that pretty easily. And yeah, so those are kind of those are my socials.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Frank. We appreciate it. It was great talking to you. It was a nice conversation and got to talk a little more in depth about some things. So thanks for your time.
No, I appreciate it again. Thanks again.
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.